and whatnot, but we are so thrilled that we're about a month away. It is crazy. But it's going to be a great time. I've been in contact with our partner organizations that I'll talk more about, and they are excited. I talked to them on Monday, and they are just thrilled that we're coming and preparing for a great group of students. So first, let us begin, as we begin all things, in prayer. So in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. This is what we are about. We planted seeds that one day will grow. We watered the seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capacities. It is the beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and to do the rest. We may never see the end results, but we are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own. Amen. In the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. This is just a little spark of the reality we hope our students come away with. That we're trying to do relational ministry, and yes, we will talk about the systems of injustice that are even happen in our own country, and what we can do, but that we are not going to solve all these big problems ourselves. But we will recognize them, and that we will see the people that we come face to face with, and do that for them. All right. This is a question to the kids, which we will talk tomorrow. Tomorrow is our first weekly meeting, tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And this is going to kind of be the icebreaker. I organized a PowerPoint into the classic who, what, when, where, why. Okay, a little bit out of order, but important to know, why did you want to come? Why are we going? And it could be a good conversation for you guys to have at the dinner table tonight, or whenever you see the kids if they're in the show right now, because that'll be 11 p.m., right? At the earliest. So great question, and this is how we're going to kick off tomorrow, is understanding why did we want to go? What's our motivations? And so, who are we going to encounter when we're there? We're going and encountering, this is our partner organization, the Center for Faith Justice. They are located in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, which is about an hour south of New York City. It's about 10 minutes outside of Princeton. I would describe it as very much like Mentor, suburbia. To Princeton, and then it's about 20 minutes away from Trenton, New Jersey, which is where we're doing the majority of our service opportunities. They were started as a nonprofit in 2008. The founders were people that were youth ministers that have worked in college campus ministry and realized that there was a lack of organizations that really bridged the whole aspect of faith and service together, especially in their area. It seemed like if you wanted to do a service opportunity, there was people that did that. If you wanted to retreat, there was people that did that, but nothing that incorporated the two. And so that's one of the reasons that we chose to engage with them in our first kind of domestic trip, is because they're really good at incorporating those two meanings together and bringing that, especially in a Catholic perspective and lens. Wrong one. All right, so who's also going with your students? Myself, and then Mr. Marty Gibbons back there, who's in charge of admissions. So we will be taking your students there into their different service sites. We have 2 minivans that we're going to drag the students in. And I thought we were going to do like 115 passenger, and I was like, there's a lot of girls, and there's going to be a lot of stuff. But this packing list hopefully will reduce on the amount of stuff that we're taking, and offer it to be a better experience. Myself, I have actually lived at the Center for Faith Justice for a summer, so I'm very familiar with them. Their programming put it on for both high school and middle school students. So I have a personal connection to them as well, and have actually lived in the place where we'll be staying and can answer any of your questions. Don't feel like they're too weird. Ask away. And then Mr. Gibbons is a Lake Catholic grad and has been our director of admissions this past year, and will be our head football coach next year. And has been very involved in the students and is interested to, have this own experience himself. So we're super excited to share this with your students. This is a picture of where we'll be staying, and it's kind of cut off. This is called the Casa. It's a former convent. It's the convent that was called the Convent of St. Anne's, and it's right behind a parish. It's like this side of the parking lot. There's a parking lot separating us here. And so it's set up that this is a chapel on this side, and then it's kind of dorm style because it was a convent outside of that. And this is also where their main headquarters is, so there's office space in here too. So any of our needs can be addressed in a matter of seconds because this is where they are. This is not like we're going to stay up at some far location and like, hey, we really need this. So we'll be interacting with even the CEO and everybody that runs this organization every day. Will be great. We have a full kitchen, dining room, like I said, a chapel space. Just to inform, like dorm-like bathrooms, you know, there's rows of stalls and then there's rows of showers, right? So whatever for the girls would need, you talk about robes or sandals or flip-flops, like that's kind of what they're going to encounter. There'll be bunked rooms, so they will share a room with one other person. They will share a sink in that room, too. So that's kind of the setup of the rooms. And then there's numerous breakout spaces to have small group discussions and large group discussions. And there is a backyard. I mean, God only knows what the weather will be like, right, in Jersey during that time of year. So we might get to utilize it or not. Picnic tables, benches, and fire pit back there. So maybe, hopefully, if the weather's nice, we can. And then also feel free to ask questions at any point along the way. Just interject. Okay. So where will we be going? So every day we'll have a different service site when we're there. And I asked them that the service sites be varied. So they deal with a number of different needs. They deal with daycares, to housing, to people with mental or physical disabilities, food pantries. So I said, just, you know, we're open to any experience, but just, you know, maybe we don't do a soup kitchen 2 days in a row, right? So just have a variety of experiences within these days and a variety of different populations. And how they vet their different service sites is the following. So they want to have safety, as they said, their number one primary concern. Have a diversity in communities, like I just said, they want a diversity of service sites. They work with over 20 partners. And I will send this PowerPoint out, and you can click this in an active link to the different service sites so you can check some of them out. And then also populations in need. And they are not only talking about material need, but also spiritual need. So sometimes, right, that it might be at a school that is doing very well, like maybe a private school, where it's like, wow, like maybe material needs not there, but maybe the little children that are there, they're doing really poor reading scores or something like that, where that's obviously a spiritual need more than material, so they'll go there and do story time or things like that. So just the different criteria that they use for their service sites. This is a breakdown that everybody wants to know, the time, when, where, pickups, drop-offs, what is going on. So this is the daily breakdown when we're there. So this applies to all the days. This is kind of the rundown of, you know, wake up, breakfast, prayer, leave for service site, lunch, return, community building activity, dinner, reflection activity, free time, prayer, bed. Okay, so that's within all of these. I'm going to just point out kind of the special activities that are going on during these days that will make them different. So the first day is the day after Easter, right, Monday the 22nd. We're going to leave here at 7 a.m. It is, if you time it out, a 7-hour car drive, but I allotted 8 hours when I was thinking about this for bathroom, lunch, right, different things like that. So I anticipate we'll get there around 3 p.m. The students will have their phones on them. I'm not going to take them away. The only thing I'm going to ask them is not to bring them to the service sites. We will always have our cell phones, and I can distribute mine to you all for sure when they're there if there is an emergency, right? But at night, right, this free time, I'm encouraging them to, right, give it up. But, I mean, inevitably it will be on their person because that's just how we all are, right? So I suggest just during this week to kind of give them that space to grow in community with each other as much as possible, right? But definitely, if you want to have like a 10, 20-minute phone conversation every day, obviously feel free to talk to your kids, you know. So that night when we get there, we're going to have an orientation to Trenton, which I said is primarily where we're going to serve. It's, I believe, the second poorest county in New Jersey, the first being Camden, New Jersey. And then New Jersey also has the richest county in the country, which is another particular reason why we're going there, because it really demonstrates the poverty gap that, you know, is spread throughout the U.S., but New Jersey is kind of a microcosm of being able to see that directly. And I'll explain how they're going to be able to experience that on the trip. So they'll get an orientation to Trenton, we'll have dinner, and then we'll have our first kind of reflection activity. Next day is Tuesday. normal routine here, but we will leave the service site a tad early this day. The whole week we're going to kind of live on SNAP food. So SNAP is kind of the new term for food stamps. So we'll be living simply when we're eating. And we're going to send all the kids, we're going to go to the grocery store and be like, this is your, they're going to put them in pairs, and we'll say, you're in charge of dinner one day. And this is the money that would be afforded to you for dinner, that one night if you were on food stamps. And so they're going to have to work through that and really see the reality of what that looks like. And then we'll come back and we'll make our own food at the casa that night and all the nights. And so we'll have a debriefing activity for the SNAP shopping simulation. The next night, Wednesday, normal service day. We're going to arrive back at the casa, and we're actually going to cook dinner for the community. So the Center of Faith Justice not only puts on retreats, it's not just a service, but it's also a community. And they do many activities actually at the casa. And all the people there and their board of directors and all the communities they serve are invited to come to the casa on Wednesday nights. They have a program what's called Soup and Psalms. So they share a meal together, and then they go to the chapel and they all reflect on a Bible passage and then pray evening prayer in the form of song. And it's a very moving experience. It's very easy to open up, and they make it very comfortable. And so we'll be participating in that activity that night. And then after Soup and Psalms, we're going to talk about what is faith justice. This whole bridge of how we can't just be faith-filled people and then not serve the poor, right? How these two things go together. And so we'll delve into that reality more that night. And then Thursday night, again, everyday routine there. We arrive back at the casa. And then this day is going to be an activity called The Names We Carry. So we're all going to invite them to share a particular name of someone they've encountered that week. And maybe if they can't think of a name off the top of their head, it's kind of a good wake-up call before the last day of service to be like, well, tomorrow, just put yourself out there if you feel like you've been holding back, and maybe learn someone's name and share your story and hear their story. So that's what Thursday night's all about. And then Friday is our last full day out in New Jersey. So again, average service site, morning routine. We're right back at the casa. And then that night, like I said, Princeton is a 10-minute drive away. So we're going to go drive out, walk around the campus at Princeton. And it definitely is different even than Lawrenceville. It's very, very posh, I guess would maybe be a word you could use. So we'll definitely be walking around there. There's a great ice cream place I know from living there. So we'll go there. That will kind of be our treat to them and have our final reflection of the whole week and what we can take away back into our everyday lives. And it will be a great opportunity after them, again, working in Trenton all week to kind of see that difference in what we're talking about. And then Saturday, we're going to leave at 6 a.m. and then arrive back here hopefully around 2 p.m. So that's kind of the game plan. Again, I'll share this so you have it. I guess inform your kids as much as you want. I think sometimes not knowing like the day-to-day activities at least might allow them to be a little bit more open than feeling like, okay, I got this, like I know this, and hopefully open up to each other, since there are some people that have friend groups that are going and some people that don't, that are just putting themselves out there. So being open to everybody too. Okay, the what questions. Okay, so number one, pack lightly. These packing lists are made by the CASA, okay, made by the Center of Faith Justice. And they recommend to strongly pack lightly. Because one, you're sharing a room with someone, so you can't like take over a space ever. And two, like we just have 2 minivans, right, for about 13 of us. So that's 13 people's bags, right there. So if people are bringing 2 bags or whatnot, obviously if they want a blanket or a pillow for the car, like that's fine, right? I will say on the packing list, it mentions the first line I wanted to point out is it says sleeping bag or sheets. They will have a bed, all right? So I guess it's just your option if they would rather just pack a sleeping bag than bring sheets to put on the bed. I mean, it's kind of up to them, their comfort level, but they will have a bed there. So just, again, encouraging simple living. That's what we're going to try to do, is immerse ourselves into living a simple life while we're there. These are the weekly meetings, all right, that are coming up. The first one is tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I kind of broke them down into different areas that we're going to preview before we go. Number one being faith tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to kind of share our faith journeys and where everybody's at and just kind of get a feel for that. Education, we're going to talk about, again, the poverty gap in Jersey and inform like kind of the background of what we're going to encounter here. And then this week, social justice will talk about what their experiences of justice have been, and then after learning about New Jersey, what areas do they anticipate some issues of justice that we might see? And then lastly, community building. So I'll go through this kind of logistics with them, especially packing and whatnot the week before we go and whatnot. And talk about, what does it mean to build a good community and how can we do that further, in this week that we're together. And what challenge might that be for you and what gift can you give? So maybe if someone needs someone who's a little bit more outgoing or isn't scared to, do something that they know who that person might be that they can go to and improve that. And I believe that's kind of it. Are there any questions?
I had a question. When Isabella went on all of her mission trips, they took gifts. Like, we took, I actually just packed a suitcase of clothes and shoes.
And she went out of the country, correct, every time.
Do you do any
So,
of that?
because the service organizations I talked to them and they said,
Yeah.
yes, we will do diverse
Okay.
experiences, but they don't have that list down. And in fact, with them, the Center of Faith Justice in particular doesn't like that relationship because they already offer like soup and psalms for everybody to your own community. And that's their whole thing is building relationships with the people. And so there's kind of no gift giving just in this organization. So, I mean, in Ecuador, they're going in June. There's a little bit of that, or we'll ask. But again, that's more, I think, an out of the country experience. So,
Good.
On the travel days, do they, especially on Mondays, should they pack a lunch or just bring your stopping?
we'll stop for sure. So, I mean, if they're particular about anything, I would say pack something, for that day. Any dietary needs or allergies, I've already informed them about, and we will definitely, may accommodate that when we're doing like the SNAP thing, for instance, and all that. So all that is going to be taken care of. Besides, I mean, obviously the ride back and forth. I mean, it's going to be rest stop food, So if they do need something in particularly, plan ahead for that then. But that would be it. And they'll need cash for like that. That's the only things they should need cash for is food, their way back, gas station, rest stop stuff. Everything else, the food while they're there is already accommodated for and all that. So.
Good.
All right.